Rory Jennings, come to contextualise. Sorry, mate, but Liverpool won another cup final this season. That's 2. And the thing I want to talk to you about immediately is legacy for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. That's the complete set of available silverware to Jurgen Klopp in his time at Liverpool.
Yeah, that's
now,
big.
A lot of people want to talk about volume, but historically, you're the kind of guy who loves that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. I don't want to talk about volume now. I mean, we can talk about volume in a totally different conversation, but
Sure.
we can definitely take a moment to acknowledge the brilliance of Jurgen Klopp. Winning this trophy, even if you just take everything else out of it, if you end the season with the FA Cup, it's massive. Beating Man City in a semi-final and beating Chelsea in a final, it's a historic.
Right.
It's a historic thing. You've planted your flag. You've won the you've won the FA Cup, and you've done it in quite impressive circumstances. Beating City in the semi, Chelsea then. It's huge. But the interesting thing now for Liverpool is it's not even. I don't know. It's almost like, right, okay, job done. On to the next one, isn't it? There's no room for. Usually you win the cup and you celebrate and your fans can go out and it isn't really that vibe, which it's amazing because you haven't got time to do that yet. You could be online. You could be in line for like one of the biggest parties of all time.
Absolutely. I think there's a big party coming, but because of what the club has set its sights on, this doesn't feel like it quite fills the cup up for the season. So it's quite a big cup they need to fill. Having said that, they've beaten Chelsea in 2 finals. You know, they've made it through those. I think they've shown. They've shown fallibility in both those finals, actually. I think they were open to being attacked. There were times where I did wonder about it being a bit of a dress rehearsal for a Champions League final, and Liverpool kind of, basically showing they've still got some sort of mental stability around that sort of thing. But the difference here is, I think Liverpool in general right now just feel like it's like, this isn't the end of where we're at here.
No. I agree with that. Even if, let's just... It won't happen.
Yeah.
But even if you lose the league to Man City and lose the Champions League final to Real Madrid, it still just feels like the mechanism is moving, the cogs are turning, you're moving in the right direction. There is something brewing. The difficulty for you is you aren't competing with a normal football club.
No.
And therefore, it's so hard. It's so hard. Like, I've said it to you before, and I'm sure you agree. Liverpool currently are perfect. They're getting everything right at every point, at every junction. Liverpool are getting everything totally correct, aren't they? They are getting it right with FSG. They are getting it right with Jurgen Klopp. They are getting it right with every single player that lands at the club. Everything is perfect. And yet it isn't yours. This era isn't yours. This is the best Liverpool team ever. This is better than the teams that dominated the 80s.
Late 80s was a very special side, and they left them with a lot of memories. I think that might be, it's the completion with that. What is interesting is the reason that Man City and Liverpool feel special, but the reason Man City will feel to themselves even more special is the reason they beat and who they beat in that time, but also who they were just competing with. So whilst it is Man City's era for a lot of those reasons, because Liverpool are the only other one competing and holding these people to account, that gives them they're automatically written into the tapestry because they're the adversary here.
Yes, but what does change that touch? I think Liverpool need another league. But what I
agree.
What I
think
think
we're
changes
capable.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Of course, capable of anything. But what I do think changes it a touch is if you win a second European Cup in the Klopp era, suddenly the dynasty that we're in, it does belong to City, but it doesn't a bit.
There's something European building there, because in that time you were doing something that they weren't.
Yeah, and what I would say is, looking at today's game, not analysing the game. Look, if we analyse the game, Robertson should have scored. Lukaku had a mare. Chelsea could have probably scored 1. Liverpool could have probably scored 3.
You could have scored
at
2.
least to that ratio.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have scored 6 and we could have scored 3 or whatever.
It's another game where we maybe sort of 50-50 chances where it's either a goal or it's going somewhere.
Tuchel did some weird things. I think he did some good things and he did some weird things. Loftus-Cheek sort of up front was odd, but whatever.
And then he got subbed off for Ross Barkley because
of the penalty.
But
that to me is boring. The conversation and the interesting part of this is, what does today mean going forward? What does it mean for Liverpool's aspirations for the rest of the season?
It reduces a little bit of that pressure on that Southampton game, because I think if you go off the back of that with a negative approach, it is that can-do kind of positive attitude breeds positive attitude. Because I always think winning breeds winning doesn't quite encapsulate what I mean by that. It's the positive makes more positive momentum, and it also as an image to people like Real Madrid this season of, look at that. Look at what you're coming up against here. You're coming up against a rowdy set of fans who are nothing like your fans. We are the complete antithesis of what those guys represent. Not completely, but you get what I mean. Like,
but en masse. Yeah, they have their ultras, but not the same. Yeah.
Well, Liverpool's a city, and Liverpool as a club is completely the opposite of that. Madrid is the capital. It's where the royals are at. It's all the things that Liverpool set themselves at odds against. At least in terms of the self-image. They are the opposite. And there are these. There's lots of times where you think, okay, they are a massive European club side, and there's loads of money backing them. But Real Madrid are another level of that. So it gives us something to pump our chests out with. We represent Britain in that extent to the final.
I think that if you're a Real Madrid fan, watching today, I think you really want a Chelsea win. If you're Carlo Ancelotti watching that, I think you really want a Chelsea win.
And it wasn't. What I will admit though is I do think Real Madrid will watch that and go 120 minutes played. Already tired Liverpool players who showed questionable sometimes decision making. You saw Virgil van Dijk go off, who had a tweak in his knee. You saw Salah go off, who had a tweak. You've seen Fabinho go off the week before. I think all three of those players, they're the spine of that Liverpool side. But Real Madrid will be buoyed by that.
I know what you're going to say to this, but let's just talk about it because I'll also read the comments on this video. Is there anything in this sentence? Should Liverpool forget the Premier League?
I get what you mean. I feel like that is not the attitude that you're...
And it's not your attitude, because I remember saying to you when it looked like the league was over in January, that 12-point thing. I remember saying to you, and you were like, no, we fired.
Yeah.
Like, he's mad.
Yeah. No, but we were.
So I know you won't agree with that.
Yeah.
But do you think there's anything in it? Should Liverpool now, maybe not throw it, but prioritise getting everyone fit for Paris?
I feel like, if anything... I get where you're coming from. I feel like the real issue there is in the long run you're sacrificing the ethos that Jurgen Klopp has built.
Yeah, which is win every
exactly, or be relentless, keep going. So in the short term it's a win. In the long run you don't know. Who knows though? They might be being pragmatic about that. There might be this approach of like, well, look, we should prioritise this. I do wonder if the result from City's next game dictates what then happens. If that makes sense.
The result from City's next game, yeah.
Because if you enter the final day of the season with a 10-goal difference, you have to be realistic. Because realistically, City aren't losing 3-0 to Villa.
No. You won't catch up on goal difference, but you could potentially catch up on
points.
On points.
So, but it has to mean that then City lose and draw the last two games.
Yeah,
and how realistic is that with the relentlessness of what City have done? The fact those guys have again hit the ground running. I'm not trying to be negative here. It's more about extolling the positives and saying Liverpool's doing well to keep up with this side.
So basically, if the West Ham game, something happens. Then it's all systems go for the final day.
Absolutely, why wouldn't it be?
But if they take 3 points out of that game...
At that point, you've got to start questioning, especially if it's 3 points and it's 5-0. Because then they're really putting the difference. And let's face it, West Ham have got that side where it can be... City might thrash them. It might also
They've got nothing going on.
Exactly. And then obviously the last day of the season, there's the Steven Gerrard narrative. I hope, personally, just from my own selfishness, that it goes down to the last day of the season. I know it might exhaust the players. There's a week between the Premier League finishing and the Champions League final.
Like I know you probably won't, but you might win.
We never give up. And it's also I think that's it. Is there was that great comment today the day before from Jurgen Klopp, basically saying like, it's been about the journey for me. If I wanted to go to Bayern Munich, I'd have gone to Bayern and we'd have swept everything. Liverpool fans have got that similar approach now. We go, look, we're here to compete. We're not just here to take part. We're here to go, we're going to be relentless and we're just going to keep going until the very end.
And what can you also, realistically, what can you do? Like, we were talking to Jody Morris, weren't we? He said, this Man City team are the best team ever assembled. What can you do? You're a football club run by a sports group going up against Manchester City with all their resources.
It's about your own integrity. But that's where the integrity of the club is really important. And I think today you saw that at Liverpool where, the players understand each of their roles, they understand rotation, but Salah was gutted when he went off. Thiago cried when he couldn't play in the League Cup final. Virgil van Dijk is fuming when he gets taken off, but it's necessary. All of the...
It's a special era, isn't it? Regardless, even if it ends... I suppose this is where I differ from what Boovy was saying. Even if it ends with...
both of these.
2 domestic cups only, it's still a very special season.
I agree, and I also think we think about everything in the modern banter era now, where it's you haven't won this, you haven't won that. I've always got to come
flop
back.
the big two. What did he say? The bad two or something.
Yeah,
remember when it's
you've
won 2 of the 4. the worst two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it's not the worst two, is it? It's 2 of the 4.
You're also missing the point of Klopp. You're missing the point of having a manager that you really love and care about, and a team that you feel is generational, a team that you will talk about for the rest of your life. Like, you have that.
Yeah.
Conte didn't go out there and win a treble, but he still got the league at one point. He did this, he did that. You still hold that.
Yeah, the romanticism around like the Jose Mourinho back-to-back leagues will never leave me.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're living now.
That's the point. And you hold on to that and you value that, because also the longer that you sort of extol those virtues of your own club, the more you're likely to attract those kind of players, the more that you're putting that image out there, the longer that lasts, the more pleasure you get from it, the further your message goes, all these kind of things. The great thing I loved, and I loved it in the League Cup final and the FA Cup final, both those things this season would not have been what Liverpool went into this season thinking we should go and win that. No. But at Wembley, they made Wembley their own.
Unless you just went into the season and went, we're going to win everything.
Right, which
maybe they did.
But you'd never prioritise the two.
No, you wouldn't prioritise them, but maybe you just have the same level of priority for everything, which is the way that it looks.
Yeah, there's really some emotional people, I think, this season. Think about things like the 97, things like that. There's a lovely, almost like spiritual photo of that smoke and the sun coming through it and all those kind of things. Yeah. You get like this weird feeling as a fan sometimes that you get memories evoked, those kind of things.
I have just watched my team lose a cup final, but even I can look at that Liverpool end and only admire.
That's everything you love about football.
It's everything I love. It's how I opened the video that we did on my channel. It's how I opened the channel.
Link in the description.
It was about that moment more than look. You can talk about, I don't know, Salah going off or should Robertson have scored or whatever. Or you can talk about the Liverpool fans going potty with smoke bombs galore, flares galore, hugging, jubilation, emotion, and that to me is far more important than heat match.
In those full stands which go all the way up to the top. That's where you look at Wembley and you go, oh right.
No, special. It was a special image.
Yeah.
That image. A lot of people on Twitter. You've got your image on Twitter and then you've got the thing behind.
Yeah.
That image behind will be that picture.
And the inference is I'm somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like about doing this live show. Well, obviously, that's the only thing I don't like about doing this live show is I can't be in that because that's like, these are lifelong memories a lot of these people have got.
Yeah, we're creating our own though. You're watching it with me.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can just look across and go, you know what?
Yeah.
Smeekas just
Shall I
scored
bring
the
a
final
flare
penalty.
next time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, imagine you just go.
For the Champions League final, so I'll bring some. Genuinely.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we'll let him off on the balcony.
We all know that Brian loves flares in the studio. What I would say is today, I think there wasn't just one man of the match. I do think Thiago had a good game, and I do think Diaz had a good game. That side of Liverpool was way, way stronger. Thank you for that. It's all right, Rowan.
Yeah, Alcantara, definitely.
Alcantara, I also think, again, another big game for Alisson. Alisson goes so undervalued. Came out, saved a couple of chances, but also just makes himself big to the point where you don't have much goal to aim at.
He also inspires confidence in your back line. Like, if your back line are having a good game, don't be mistaken that the keeper isn't part of the back line having it. Like, if you think Trent Alexander-Arnold's looking assured, yeah, it's Van Dijk, yeah, it's Matic, yeah, it's whoever, but don't think the keeper's not massively part of that.
Also, because if he gets dispossessed or loses the ball, it's Alisson who backs those people up. Exactly. And obviously, today, no Fabinho, Henderson came in, played the 6. It's clear, obviously, that that's not his favourite role. He's made that very clear publicly and privately, but Klopp has done something special there, and it's that long-term project of Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, one of the many captains in the team, but the guy who wears the armband.
Anyone who's ever watched anything that we've ever been on together knows exactly where I sit on the Henderson debate.
Yeah,
exactly. And
thank
mate,
you, Rory.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Sorry it had to be you twice, that's all.
Yeah.
I wish we were celebrating sort of together.
Yes, but, soon, one day.
Go over, check Rory's video on his channel. Jodie Morris is in that one. I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the celebrations, that's all I'm going to say. It's 15 minutes of just good vibes. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully with more good news. Good night.